Okay, I know, watching big action movies at home just isn't the same no matter how good your system is. These things are generally imagined for the big screen, not just in terms of scope and scale, but in the way the stories are told and the characters are imagined. Simple characters and direct, straightforward narratives lend themselves to the one-off, I've sat myself down for a night out of spectacle, so you've got my attention, don't waste it, whereas being at home can only naturally invite a sense of eased-in, relaxed, let's see how this plays out vibe. Like it or not, TV wants to be TV, movies want to be movies. And paradoxically, instead of looking even bigger by being in a smaller container, shuttling a big movie direct to the small screen instead tends to magnify the parts that are meant to be obscured by that bigger theatrical scale, and such is the case with Extraction, a hard-edged military action film built effectively to serve as a resume-expanding extension for multiple loyal regular employees of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a proof-of-concept highlight reel for Chris Hemsworth's skill at more realistic, at least in terms of blood spilled and physics sort of adhered to action scenes and darker dramatic performance depths. In a lead role, yes, a tightly constructed tactical thriller screenplay from the money-making Russo brothers, and a directing debut for longtime go-to MCU action specialist Sam Hargrave, who started out as Chris Evans' stunt double and soon became the multi-film franchise go-to stunt coordinator and fight choreographer. This, however, is decidedly not a Marvel movie, and even not knowing the origins of the filmmaking team relationships, one can easily sense the deliberate choice of all involved to evoke familiar but of late neglected Hollywood action aesthetics instead, marrying the one-man army protagonist tradition straight from the glory days of Schwarzenegger and Stallone to the brutally efficient, everything not nailed down fight scenes of the Bourne films to the gritty haze of late-period Tony Scott. And the resulting aesthetic is, like I said, unique and engaging enough to make you really wish you were watching it in a theater, so that's too bad. But the good news is, unlike some of the other stabs Netflix has taken at porting the regretfully moribund R-rated macho action guy movie to the streaming world, Extraction still kicks a lot of ass. Like, this is really good, and it kind of sneaks up on me, right? Like, I'm watching it, I'm enjoying it, you know, I'm really into it, but I'm not super aware of how into it, and then right in the middle of a fight scene pretty early on, Hemsworth's guy just, like, knifed a dude in a particularly kick-ass way, and I was like, yeah, fuck him up. I mean, I sat up, spilled my beer a little bit, and I was like, hey, this is a really good one of these. All right. Anyway, the plot here is that Hemsworth is a mercenary named Tyler Rake, okay, with a sad ex-military tragic past issue happening, who's recruited by an agency, didn't catch which one, not sure that it matters, to rescue the innocent teenage son of an Indian drug kingpin who's been abducted for ransom by his father's rival, a Bangladesh drug kingpin, who controls the city and essentially local government police and military of Dhaka, said total control, plus the unexpected intervention of Indian actor Randeep Hooda as a second would-be rescuer of the boy, a henchman of his father who fears retribution for not thwarting the initial kidnapping, causes the extraction to become much more complicated, leading to multiple intense shootouts, chases, hand-to-hand fights, and a pseudo one-take running, shooting, fighting, driving, stealth, open indoor-outdoor sequence that is easily the highlight of the film. It's also fun, though perhaps unintentionally, see the uneasy mix of aesthetics brush up against each other in terms of what feels like a mostly admirable commitment to gritty, non-exploitative realism in the use of the Bangladesh setting, the morally murky geopolitical drug trade storyline, and plot details about the realities of mercenary work, child soldiers, etc., and a really terrific international cast that, in addition to Hooda, includes Priyanshu Panyuli, Pankaj Tripathi, and Goshapte Farhani as Rake's boss and fellow mercenary. But then the hero is still the guy who's basically G.I. Joe with a more realistic battle damage, who mows down guys 12 at a time with machine guns and perfect shots, is great with every weapon, punches dudes so hard they like fly across the room 5 feet, and even if he wasn't best known for playing a superhero, still looks and is built like someone who walked out of an action movie into a real war zone, which in some ways makes Extraction accidentally as close as anyone has come to capturing a Call of Duty game on film, right down to the agreeably over-the-top, very, very extreme blood and violence. Like, you definitely get an R-rated body count and level of blood spilled here, so if that's what you're paying for, good job. And it also must be said that credit due for not letting this be one of those films where just because it's clear we're building up one dude as the unstoppable badass, the other characters also don't get a turn. Newcomer Rudraksh Jaiswal as the target of the rescue mission delivers an extremely evolving performance. Hooda himself is terrifically charismatic, action hand in his own right, and Farahani is a full-blown standout, stealing scenes in the first 2 acts, giving an icy edge to the expository, people in charge watching computers and explaining the scene transition sequences before gearing up with guns and RPGs of her own to go full action heroine in Act 3 and knock out 2 of the biggest hell yeah moments in the movie. Like, if the producers of this know what they're doing, they'll have her signed to a spin-off series of her own before it's out for a month. But as for Extraction itself, yeah, I mean, who knows if it's memorable or anything more than a quick distraction, but I was pretty into it. 7 out of 10. I mean, if you've already got Netflix, it's not like it's going to cost you any more to watch it, so yeah, give it a spin.